So I'm sure all of you have heard about the new Battleforce boxes that have come out for this year's Christmas discount event. And it's looking pretty cool. There's some really strong boxes in here, but there's some boxes that are weirdly disappointing. And I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about. So as of recording this, this was announced just like 2 days ago, a day ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. And here's just my first thoughts. We'll talk vibes and then we'll get into some specific numbers. But I won't do a full number breakdown because there's amazing creators like Auspex Tactics who make much better videos in that kind of vein as of right now. Unless I start getting into those kind of videos, then he might have some competition. But for now, let's just go off vibes. With Fulgrim as the centerpiece, as the big model, you know, you're looking at boxes, you're looking at discount boxes, and boom, like Fulgrim is there on the box. This is what's catching your eye, right? I think it's a pretty cool move. And I think if you want to get into Emperor's Children, then this makes this box more palatable. If you're already into Emperor's Children, then it's very likely that you already have Fulgrim. So it's a coin toss, depending on where you are on that side, on that spectrum, on the Emperor's Children army owning spectrum, where you are at. I think that really dictates the value of this box for you. I was looking at it, and with the guesstimated price being somewhere around $240 to $260, the discount on this box is actually pretty high with 33%. And then it's also sitting at 2.9 points per dollar, which is solid. That's actually pretty good. That's a good standard to try and hit. So trying to get around that 3 or better mark is where you really want to be for these discount boxes to be strong, at least with GW standards. The only negative to this box really is that it doesn't feel like it has a lot of plastic in it. You might notice like they kind of spread out those models. It feels a little less impactful with the plastic, but it's mostly because Fulgrim, that huge centerpiece, is right there. And the way that Emperor's Children is balanced, this is a pretty solid box. The only negative is the fact that it has somewhat limited appeal with Fulgrim being there. Moving on to the Chthonian Prospect Leagues of Votann box, we're looking at about a retail value of $369, and before I get into the numbers, I should actually just say that the plastic looks sick. The models look sick. I'm not a Votann player, so I don't have the best, goalpost to measure this from. But honestly, it looks really solid to me. It looks cool. The models look cool. But if we look at the numbers, maybe that'll help us figure that out. The retail value, if you sold each of these kits separately, is looking at about $369, which gives us a discount of 34%, which is really strong, actually. And again, it has that chunky amount of plastic you want to see in a Battleforce box. The points per dollar are sitting at about 2.3, which is a little low, but it's still acceptable. If we were to dip below 2, that would be trash, right? Which that might be foreshadowing for future Battleforce boxes in this video. But we're still sitting at above that 2 line. 2 is bare minimum. 3 is like, yes, that's the standard. That's what we want to hit. We're sitting at about 2.3, so we're sitting in that limbo between those two goalposts. Let's see what we got next. Crusher Stampede. Window shop, like first impression, it is very starkly just a couple really big monsters. Now, that's not necessarily negative. All I'm saying is it's really just a couple really big monsters. Which, to be fair, I know that there's some people that have some mixed thoughts on this. I know some people are positive on this. I know some people are negative on this from the research I was doing. My personal opinion, right out the gate, is that there's 2 ways to do Tyranids. There's Horde, and then Monsters. And of course, the in-between where you mix that up. But everyone knows that you either do Monster Mash or you do Huge Horde. And this is doing Monster Mash, which honestly, it's staying to one of the 2 major identities of Tyranids, so it didn't automatically bother me. Now, if we look into the numbers, maybe we can decide how we feel about it a little bit more. With the estimated price being about $240 to $260, again, that's the goalpost that we're measuring these estimated discounts on. The retail value for each of these kits sold individually is $361, which puts us at a 33% discount, or in that 30% range, 30-40% range discount, which is pretty solid. That's what we want to hit. And then the points are sitting about 730 points for all these, depending on how you build it. I think that can vary, but we're sitting at about 3 points per dollar, which again is what we want to hit. It's just the fact that there's so few models. Like, that's the only negative in my mind about this box. The value, numerically, all of the values saying, yep, this is what we want to hit. Again, this appeal is a very specific thing. Like, do you want these 5 models? I don't know, this is a good one for Tyranid collectors. If you're a Tyranid collector, please let me know how you feel about this box. In fact, in the comment section, any collectors of any of these armies, please let me know how you feel just immediately looking at the box about what you're looking at. Up next is the Farsight Cadre. This one is just
Know your fucking place, trash.
Not a banger, but we'll get into why. Just immediate appeal. I gotta be honest, my first thoughts were, wow, that's not a lot of suits. Now, I understand that there's a little bit of a heavy hitter. Well, honestly, there's no suits that are heavy hitters due to like Tau points balance stuff. But I just saw more drones than suits, which I know is normal. But again, like they just stick out like sore thumbs. I don't know. There's just not enough going on here. Honestly, it was kind of unappealing the second I looked at it. Foresight looks badass. All these models look badass. Even the drones look cool. But it's just not appealing immediately on just window shopping. But I don't know a lot about Tau balance, right? So I figured maybe the numbers will prove me wrong. And they really didn't. With a retail value, each kit sold separately, like always, we're sitting at about $345. And that would put us at a 30% discount, which is acceptable, right? But the points per dollar is where it gets really low. We're sitting at about 480, 495 points, depending on how you build this box, which puts us again at a 2 PPD, which is not great. It's, I think, the weakest box in terms of points efficiency. Actually, no, there's only one other box that's weaker. And I think it's okay for fans that like really want to get into Tau and want to get Farsight. And like you can get Farsight and a couple other models and you're technically getting a discount and like this is your opening into Tau. The thing is, it just doesn't hit the standard that GW should be hitting with these Battleforce boxes, which is why it's disappointing. But it is technically still a discount. Depending on the numbers, you might just want to get like some combat patrols and Farsight on his own. But if you're a Tau player, please let me know your thoughts. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something, or maybe I'm totally right and not going in on it enough. Next up, we got Iron Halo Strike Force. Okay, the Space Marines are eating pretty well, to be honest. Very, very strong box here. Immediately, just window appeal. What's my feeling? I think it's pretty cool. You got 2 Dreadnoughts, you got your Ranged Dreadnought, and you have your Redemptor Dreadnought, my beautiful, gorgeous baby boy, the best model ever. This is really awesome. We're looking at a discount of somewhere around 38%. There is also an upgrade sprue in this box for those new Space Marine heads that came out recently. If you know what I'm talking about, you've already seen them. If you don't, I'll put up a visual right now. But this upgrade sprue is being included in this price. If you take it off, it's more around 32, 33-ish, I think. But still, like, really good value. That's still what you want to hit. That's over our expected line. And points per dollar is really strong, sitting about 3.4 points per dollar. This is just excellent value, to be honest. And it's one of the strongest discounts in this Battleforce Christmas box set lineup. So if you're a Space Marine player, I would say go for it. The numbers say go for it. All right, Chaos Space Marines. Now, I don't know as much about Chaos Space Marines as I should, but I will say immediately, it looks awesome. Even with the Rhino, that old kit, I think that this looks sick. I think this is a pretty interesting box, and it has me tempted, I'm not gonna lie. Especially that freaking Lord Discordant right there.
And it has me tempted.
That looks awesome. But let's see what the numbers say. Retail value, we're sitting at about 251 bucks, which gives us a 32% discount. We're looking at about a 32% estimated discount on this box, and with 3.4 points per dollar, it's looking just like the Space Marine box. Really, really strong. And to be honest, these kits just look sick. I think this is a very visually appealing box. This would be awesome as a Christmas present to open up. And I think it's well-rounded. It's got a little bit of everything that you want out of a Chaos Space Marine list, save a few special unique models, of course, but you have your monster, you have your transport, you have your heavies, you have your front line, you know, you have your back line, you have your hero. I don't know. This just looks sick to me. But hey, if a Chaos Space Marine player has a different thought process around it, please let me know. And then we're going to end on a little bit of a dreary note with the Krieg Siege Platoon. Now, I will say immediately, just upon hearing the name and looking at the box art, it looked sick. I wanted this to be a really good box. But as soon as I looked past the epic Krieg aesthetic, I got a bad feeling in my gut, because I was like, this is looking a little sparse. For a guards list, this may look like a lot of plastic to people who don't understand guard balance, but this really isn't a lot. This isn't a lot of points. There aren't a lot of bodies here. So it had me a little nervous. Despite how cool it looked, despite how aesthetically, you know, pleasing and well-themed this is, the numbers were pretty disappointing. We're looking at about a 28% discount, which is below the mark we want. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's still totally acceptable. We're not in the abysmal 20% and below. We're still really close to 30%. So it's acceptable in that regard. But the points per dollar is sitting at a terrible.
That's terrible.
This is the lowest performing box in both discount and points. Again, the discount isn't abysmal, but the fact that it's the lowest in discount and points is just really disappointing. If you are a player who specifically wants to open their Guardsman collection with Krieg, or you know a person who loves Krieg, that 28% discount makes it so that you're not completely wasting your money. You just have to understand that this is a supplemental piece, basically, for your army. This is just a little bit. You're just adding a tiny bit, a sprinkling of points, if you will. I think this comes out to about 450 points. It's a weak performer, but I want to love it, which is why I'm saying this through gritted teeth. It's just a weak performer in comparison to all of its peers, which is very disappointing. It also has no vehicles, which is just not good for a guards list. If you're going to do only bodies, put a shit ton of bodies in there. Make it worth it. You know what I mean? If you want to play a horde guard army, like actually put a horde amount of guard models in there, and they just don't follow through with that on a lot of guard discount boxes, unfortunately. So this would not be a hard recommend from me, but goddamn, it looks good. You know what I mean? It looks good. I wish it was better, but yeah, this is coming in dead last on this discount box list. What are your thoughts? What do you think of all these boxes? Do they look good to you as of collectors of these specific armies? How do you feel about them? Please let me know down below in the comments. I think that it's a pretty interesting lineup, a little bit of a mixed bag, but overall pretty strong. To have only two okay, that's a bad way to say it, because GW should just know how to show up well. To have two boxes not perform like you want them to is pretty disappointing. But that being said, we have 5 very solid boxes, so I don't know. Pretty decent performance this year. I don't think I'll personally be buying any of these, but what about you? Do you think you're going to be picking up any of these as a personal collector of these armies? Are you excited about them? Are you disappointed by them? If so, what are you excited about? What are you disappointed about? Let me know down below in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to join an awesome Warhammer community here. And thanks so much for watching.